Elsewhere, the military junta in Niger says it's sticking to its guns and will not back down despite regional and international interventions. This has raised concerns among analysts on the repercussion it could have on the region and the continent. Many countries are now evacuating their nationals due to the harsh measure in place. Muyo Thomas has more in this report.
Niger has been in the news for about a week now for what many experts consider the wrong reasons. It is now the fourth country in the West African region to be toppled by the military between 2020 and 2023. The resurgence of coup d'etat is indeed a worrying issue, not just to Africa, but the world at large. But the larger issue at the moment is the repercussions the measures taken against Niger could have on neighboring countries like Nigeria, most especially. Nigeria's president, being the chair of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, has given a stern warning if the coupists don't back down. Many countries and bodies such as the EU have thrown their weights behind the ECOWAS resolutions. These measures against Niger seem to have only made the coup leaders more defiant, creating concerns about what is likely to happen if ECOWAS makes good its threat of military action. For example, Nigeria shares borders in about 7 states with Niger, over 1,600 kilometers of land in length, making incursion into Nigeria easy from Niger. At the moment, it is also very obvious Nigeria is not battle ready for another round of violent terror attacks. Niger is one of the countries in the Sahel actively involved in the fight against terrorism. Consultations are still ongoing to have a better resolution to these issues rather than military action, and the world can only hope these talks work. The United States has joined France and the EU in evacuating their nationals from Niger. Muyo Thomas, TVC News.
Away from that, a coalition of civil society groups is now advising the federal government to roll out a detailed social protection program that will genuinely capture the poor and the vulnerable. And this topped the resolutions at the end of a meeting of 17 civil society groups on petrol subsidy removal and palliatives in Abuja. TVC News' Joke Adisa reports.
Subsidy removal is still a topical issue in Nigeria's polity. On Wednesday, organized labor joined by the civil society community registered its displeasure with government's handling of the aftermath of fuel subsidy removal with a nationwide protest. Now that both parties are back on the negotiation table, this coalition of civil society groups seeks an early resolution of all issues in dispute.
As organizations who work with vulnerable people who would not be represented on the negotiation table, think that we must speak out on how must we include people who are excluded on the negotiation table to be part of the process of being protected in the current dispensation.
The group recommends what it calls strategic communication of every process and stage of the implementation of the social protection policy. It also calls for the release of the register of beneficiaries as it seeks transparency and accountability in the entire process of palliative provision.
When we refine products in our country, they'll be bought in Naira. We won't have to deal with the exchange rate. The cost, the pump price of oil will come down, and also utilize our gas, promote the use of gas so that people, the issues we have with transportation and others can be addressed.
We are recommending that the process for increasing the minimum wage should commence immediately at the federal, state, and local government levels, and by private sectors employers.
The civil society groups task government at federal, state, and local levels to increase investments in basic education and primary health care as a way of creating increased access to social services for poor and vulnerable Nigerians. TVC News, Abuja.